Bluey is a show that has won reward after reward for the realistic and positive way they show children behaviors, as well as the amazing ways the parents in the show take their time to truly understand and listen to their children. But once any show becomes as popular as Bluey, there's always going to be someone or something rearing its ugly head, attempting to devalue the show as a whole, no matter how positive the show is. This unfortunate extreme that we're talking about today is where we get parents attempting to ban their kids from watching Bluey in their household. But why would these parents be choosing to do something so extreme on a show that is so universally loved? And after reading way too many articles and posts regarding parents banning the show in their household, it mostly boiled down to 3 reasons. Their kids starting to copy some bad behaviors that was seen in the show, and most of these points, I will admit, are about Muffin. Point number 2 is that it made their kids want to play too much. And reason number 3 is that they don't agree with the parenting style shown in the show. So today we're going to go one by one on each one of these points and go a little bit more in depth on what they are complaining about in particular, and of course my own thoughts on those topics. But before we start, one could say that these articles or even posts are simply just rage bait from certain individuals trying to stir a reaction from others, which could be the case. But if you're like me and you decide to seek this information out, which honestly wasn't really worth it, there is enough articles and posts that makes it hard to believe that it is just simply rage bait. So naturally, with any other absurdity I find in the Bluey community, we're going to report it here first for you buddies. Now, as always, I'd like to mention that I have a history of working with kids in a therapeutic setting, which has inspired me to start talking about this series. But most importantly for this video, I can give my own take on how parents are reacting to the show and possibly why their reaction might not necessarily be warranted for the show, which of course has us starting off with the kids copying bad behaviors. And on a surface value, that's actually not that bad. If your kid is reacting to a certain thing in a super negative way and you're not sure how to fully handle it, taking away said influence can be a preventative measure. It's not the only preventative measure, of course, but out of the 3 reasons, I could see this one being decently valid. The only problem is where this lies is in this show, the negative behaviors that is seen in the episodes are often handled pretty readily and in a way to kind of show the audience that what they're doing isn't technically the done thing.
I hid Turtle Boy under the newspaper so his owner wouldn't find him.
Oh, right. Well, that's definitely not the done thing, Bingo.
And one could argue that if there is certain bad behaviors being shown in the show, it is kind of up to the parent's discretion to try to teach the kid that, hey, this isn't the right thing to do, or even guide them along to the same episode to show them the conclusion of the episode saying, hey, don't you remember when this character learned their lesson in the end?
Can I take Turtle Boy home?
Well, I did say you could, but do you still want to?
And everyone around them seemed happier in the moment.
I hope Turtle Boy's owner comes back soon.
Why's that?
I don't want him to be lonely.
And I suppose since a lot of these reasonings do mention Muffin as being the outlier here of bad behavior,
Oh, great!
let's mention an episode where Muffin is being a little bit of a cheeky child, like the episode Library, where Muffin starts misbehaving due to her parent Stripe making a mistake driving through a traffic light.
Why didn't you slow down and stop?
Where he makes an excuse where he kind of just says this.
Well, this was a special case.
Oh, okay, Dad.
Now, just like their real life counterparts, Muffin here, being a kid, is acting like a little sponge and starts to copy the action of her parent. So when asking her dad if she is also special,
Am I special?
Stripe says something to Muffin that she takes quite literally.
Muffy, you're the most special kid in the whole world.
This causes her to go down a path where she essentially has too much freedom, where she kind of believes that she can do whatever she wants because she is just special.
Why do you get to keep them? Because I am the most special kid in the world.
Throughout the episode, the audience is exposed to Bluey and Bingo not quite liking this behavior from Muffin, which should be a red flag for any kids watching to kind of feel sorry for Bingo and Bluey since they are usually the star of the show. But even if that wasn't enough, by the end of the episode, Stripe realizes his mistake, tells Muffin, hey, you're not actually special.
You know how I said you're the most special kid in the world?
Yes.
Well, you're not.
Which is kind of brutal, leading to them hugging it out and Muffin understanding that she can't just do whatever she wants and starts playing appropriately with Bingo and Bluey. And even has another heartwarming scene that kind of reconciles Stripe's original mistake, showing that Muffin and Stripe both grew as a character.
Better stop.
Good one, Dad.
Thanks, Princess.
Everything shown in that episode is extremely positive and can be used by the parent watching to learn an important lesson on what happens when you give too much freedom to a child. And as all Muffin episodes, they kind of act as a showcase of the difficult balancing act that all parents must go through that you have to do when helping your children at this age, with Muffin usually being 3 or 4 in these episodes. And I'd argue that this balancing act is hardest at Muffin's age right here. So I don't necessarily think it is grounds to ban watching the show in your household, as long as you're able to deal with the situation appropriately if your child starts copying those bad behaviors. Now, point number 2 with the kids wanting to play too much is just so mind-boggling to me, because it's not necessarily a bad thing for your kids wanting to play. Imaginative play that is shown in Bluey is so important for a child's development, so I'm not even sure what to say exactly for that point. It is just honestly feels outright wrong, but I could understand the reason why these parents are getting upset is that they feel like they don't have enough free time of their own. But that's like a whole almost like a philosophical debate on how you should adjust your time as a parent, and I'm not sure if I really want to open that can of worms, but I don't think that is a bad point. Of course, you can establish boundaries with your kids if necessary, which is seen in Bluey sometimes.
I want you to stay and play with us.
I know you do. I have to go do my job, though.
So it's hard to imagine why this point is so bad, so I'm not really sure how to continue with that sentiment. So let's move on to the most juicy part of the video, with certain parents not agreeing with the parenting style shown in Bluey. To give a little bit of retrospect, a lot of people who watch the show often strive to want to become better parents because of the amazing job done by Bandit and Chili in the show. And honestly, I've never heard a show before Bluey where parents were admitting they wanted to be like the cartoon counterpart of a parent of a children's show. It's kind of phenomenal if you think about it. Parents in media are often portrayed in a very similar light, and Bandit and Chili kind of destroy that mold in a very positive way. They play with their kids in a positive way. They sometimes use these games to show love and affection to each significant other.
Cursed to depart, having only just known your beauty.
Both parents are shown getting frustrated when there is a frustrating situation, and when they make mistakes, they own up on them.
If I've ever hurt your feelings, I'm really sorry, mate. Must feel really bad when your dad does that. Just know that I love you, kid, and I'd do anything for you.
And shows them as realistic parents with that 7 minutes of time a day that they show in every single episode, more or less. That's a really small and condensed way on how I feel their parenting styles are, and I have 2 whole videos that are like 30 minutes each on how much I love Bandit and Chili's parenting style and the flaws that they have as their own characters. So I really do adore the parenting style shown in the show. But let's take a few moments to see these individual parents' takes on why they don't like the parenting style shown in the show. This news article published by Sarah Oddfield had a chance to speak to Asafi Giles, which is a parenting and behavioral consultant, and she believes that the publication that is shown in Bluey encourages tantrums and send poor messages among the family, with her on quote saying the dad constantly is bullied because everyone calls him a bit stupid and a bit silly and nobody seems to listen to him. He gets deranged quite a lot in the show. Bandit, however, laughs in the face of this often in many of the episodes, and she feels that it doesn't make for a very pleasant watching as an adult, and that the parents just do whatever the children want most of the time, which once again isn't really like real life. She goes on to say that the children tend to have many tantrum every time they're asked to do something boring. And for me, as someone who's also worked with kids like Sophie here, it kind of boggles my mind that she was able to get that glimpse of the show. I feel like you have to watch very select episodes and not even watch the full episode to really get that particular opinion on the show, because once again, as I explained many different ways already, the show always has a nice and heartfelt moment at the end where if a problem like a mini tantrum, as she quotes, happens, it is resolved in a positive and very nice way for the kid to also learn an important life lesson. The parents are depicted handling it in a very age-appropriate way with gentle parenting, by talking to their kids about it, acknowledging the kids' feelings, and offering choices if appropriate. I don't know about you, but I didn't get a gentle parenting approach when I was young, and I would have killed for something like that, so I'm not sure where Sophie is quite going on their point. And in the show Bluey, the children are portrayed as children. Shocker, I know. But children sometimes do have bad days, and it's perfectly reasonable for Bluey to showcase quote-unquote tantrums, especially when, as I mentioned before, it's resolved and handled in a positive way in many episodes. Now, if we were to take some other people's takes on them not agreeing with the parenting style shown in the show, the common complaint is that the healer parents often bend over backwards for their kids, quote unquote, all the time.
You are joking, right?
With some people saying that the parents don't ever say no.
I want to turn the TV on and then watch it.
Oh, right. No chance. We're going to the park.
Of course, we have to consider that what is shown in the show is the snippets of the parents saying yes, because a narrative has to be made in a way. Oftentimes, these yeses that causes the parents to have a problem, or even the kids to have a problem, are resolved in a positive way, as I keep saying. An egregious episode that people don't like that shows pretty bad behavior is Tina.
What?
Now, Tina, I don't have a major problem with, because I feel like the parents play it in a way where the kids start to learn their lessons by themselves.
Oh.
It's not uncommon for Bluey episodes to have the parents lean their kids into learning the lessons for themselves.
Daddy robots don't usually go crazy like that.
Well, actually, it's our fault.
Because when a kid learns a lesson for themselves in this way, where it makes them seem that they came up with the solution themselves, they cement those important ideologies that helps them grow into respectable adults in the future. And although people find Tina to have some bad behaviors, I feel like that episode shows the healer family guiding their children along to doing the right thing eventually, and by the end of the episode, like every other episode, they learn their lessons. And it's not as if Bandit and Chili don't say no to the kids sometimes. I'm not really sure where that comes up.
But that's not fair.
It's about as fair as it gets, actually.
Bluey and Bingo, by all accounts, are actually incredibly well-adjusted kids with healthy respect and boundaries for each other, their friends, and their parents.
Thanks for looking after us.
10! You're welcome.
So I guess if we were to circle back to reason number one, I'm not sure how certain kids are finding ways to copy quote-unquote bad behaviors seen in the show. And it makes me feel bad that these parents feel like they need to ban a wonderful show such as Bluey because of the reasons we just talked about. It's already super clear that I'm a 100% supporter on this show being shown to kids and parents alike, and I even encourage that the parents who put on the show for their kids to watch it alongside for their kids, because it does have a lot of important lessons that kids can learn, but not only that, adults can learn as well because of the parenting style shown within the show. But really, this was just supposed to be a fun little short video that allowed me to talk about a little bit one of my pet peeves that I see sometimes around the internet. So this video kind of allowed me to get all those opinions and thoughts off my chest finally, which was really fun for me and therapeutic, I must admit. But I don't know about everyone else, but the weather outside is literally turning my office into a sauna. So I want to wrap this up here. So as always, buddies, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you buddies have a great day. Bye-bye.
Ready,